Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of U.S. History Made Plain. I'm a high school history teacher trying to make history as fun and interesting for my students as possible. So it's 1861, the Civil War is underway, and there are 4 border states, Delaware, Maryland, Missouri, and Kentucky, that have decided to stay with the Union even though they still have slaves and are going to keep their slaves. However, it wasn't as cut and dry as other states. So in Maryland, there were a lot of people in Maryland who actually wanted to secede. Because Maryland was a slave state that relied on their slave labor, a lot of them really did want to secede, so much so that pro-secessionists in Maryland actually attacked the Union troops and told them, if y'all don't let us secede, we're going to cut off access of the railroads into DC. So you better let us do what we got to do and go on down to the Confederates. Lincoln and the Union troops were like, you going to do what? Oh, okay. So then Lincoln sent more troops into Maryland, and they had martial law. Martial law just means that now the guys with guns are the ones who call all the shots. So you have this man in your face saying, you're not going to secede. We are now going to stay with the Union. You can't secede. That's not an option, because my gun right here says we're going to stay with the Union. So now people in Maryland who want to secede have no choice but to be a part of the Union, because if they choose to leave or they try to go against the Union, they could be killed. Missouri had a similar situation where there were a lot of people in Missouri who wanted to secede. They wanted to become a part of the Confederacy, but there were still a lot of people in Missouri who didn't want to secede, and the Union troops were able to keep the pro-secessionists at bay and keeping Missouri under federal control. And while there still were like small guerrilla forces that sympathized with the Confederacy, and so as the war was going on, you had these little pockets of people who were trying to sabotage the war and trying to help the Confederates out, Missouri as a whole still stayed a part of the Union and kept their slaves. Kentucky, on the other hand, was a little different. Kentucky was like, hey, we don't want no problems. We want our slaves. We need our slaves, but we not trying to fight nobody. We don't want to secede, but we're trying to remain neutral. We don't care really what happens with anything as long as our slaves stay. We don't have no issues. And so don't ask us to fight. Don't ask us to do anything, because we are neutral. We are basically not in this war. And Lincoln tried to respect that. For a very long time, he left Kentucky alone. And it wasn't until the Confederates tried to come up and get Kentucky on their side that Lincoln had to send troops into Kentucky to be like, yo, nah, they good. They part of the Union. So go on back, because we'll fight y'all too, because they say they're neutral, but they a part of us.